EMALab is pleased to present Mr. Massimo Rizzi.
Massimo Rizzi. Good morning to everybody. My name is Massimo Rizzi. I deal with the commercial part of the packaging for Italy, and packaging for us blisters, carton, end-of-the-line tube, and counting. We are going to talk to you about blisters, efficiency, capacity of finding solutions to address the pharmaceutical issues for a better efficiency, but also to render adequate the function of blistering machines. Now, to do so, we get more and more questions from the market of much more and more efficiency and the capacity of responding with certain supplies under certain conditions. And we used our creativity to our Leonardo is Mr. Baroncini, who conceived a revolutionary solution, very innovative, that is considered to be the grandchild of a universal loader of all times, to load the tablets and powders of any type. We called it sombrero, and we see it from its size, and it's an international name. What is the difference vis-a-vis the traditional loading machine? A hopper, a conveyor, descent, dedicated chutes, mold. There is nothing here. The hopper, pre-feeder, there is no chute. It's a conveyor, tube conveyor, that brings the tablet within the disc. The tablet in the disc is placed delicately with brushes that are no way intrusive, but they are for the distribution within the disc by gravity. The tablet, wherever it is, goes delicately within the blister, and it's fed continuously. And then this way, we feed the blisters in a very simple way and in a very delicate way, as I said. What is the first problem that we have to solve through the sombrero? Well, the sombrero, there is a traditional chute, and we can have different tolerances of the various tablets. If the tolerance is different as to the tablet, I can have a stop or block within the chute. So there is a downtime for the machine. I have to act and intervene and address the problems. With the sombrero, I'm not going to bump into this problem because there is a tube that brings in delicately the tablets within the disc, and I solve a part of the problem this way. Another frequent issue is to have the supply of some tablets coming from, for instance, non-EMA tableting machines and pressing machines. So maybe they can be wrong. And so having a variety of different tablets, so difficulty in terms of feeding, the feeding mode, but having the possibility of having tolerances up to 8 millimeters. With this type of solution, I solve also this type of problem. So I can, through this disc, through this feeding that you can see in the lower part, to feed products that have different diameters. And they also can be different in shape. Sometimes I can feed them with the same disc. I don't have to devote a chute and a mold, specific mold, to this type of feeding. Different geometries, as you can see. Different types of capsules, tablets. Sometimes I am in front of situations like the Everest of the food, pantoprazole that should treat gastritis, but it induces it to the ones who have to deal with food machinery, because very often having the feed, you have to deal with the feeding cleaning element of these machines. And so this problem is addressed. This is a nightmare of all persons in charge of quality control. We show how we feed the sombrero. Of course, there are not going to be conditions of like in reality. It's you will not have in the same blister the difference of these different type of the tablets, but brushes distribute the product and we insert it continuously on a continuous mode within the blister. So you can see here different shapes, as many as you wish. And the same disc will handle many, many diversified situations. No.
Io non ho
Cosa
limitazioni neanche a livello di materiale, sostanzialmente quello è proprio l'alimentazione, l'unica vera parte.
This is the feeding unit, and the true part that changes according to the capsule or the tablet. Sometimes it doesn't, and it can feed various products. It depends on the client, But I can work with any type of materials. I have no limits of any type. We can see it even better in this image.
Un altro fattore importante nell'ambito della produttività.
Another important element is the efficiency, is the cleanliness of the feeding operation. The fewer parts I have, and the better I will access them without complex parts. And the only important part is the disc. It's cleanable, it's fixed, and there are not very many parts. If we think of the complex feeding, traditional equipment, we know that they all are cumbersome in terms of the formats. We have different types of formats. And they are extra parts that are non-existing here. So it's a very simplified element. And here the accessibility, easy to clean. We have removed the disc, we have removed the pan. And so these are the only two elements I have to deal with for cleaning and the various operations for their handling. The other important operation is the format change or the size change. When we talk about machines, we always think of their speed, 350, 450, 500 blister per minute. But I change a whole day to change the formats or the sizes. And then I waste, or it takes me 3-4 hours to clean up the machine. But here, this shows me that the change of format is very, very easy. It's if a technician takes 10 minutes, a commercial person of the sales department will take much more, but it can take very little time also for me. The yield of the sombrero is very, very high compared to traditional ones, and you can see them in different segments. I will never be able to put, a repair chute, and the operator should get into the chute and repair it for the cloggings. Whereas with the sombrero, I don't have this chute, so I can check it very easily in a second stage, and where the blister, before being sealed, passes underneath, and we can see very well the defects in real time, and the problems of accessibility are nowhere existing. It's clear that competition, the market is convinced that all our competitors have all this downtime, and partially it is this way, in the sense that I go and place this sombrero and this type of feeding in machines of average capacity. For us, it's a giant, single band, easily accessible, already ready for several format changes. With the sombrero, I have a stop and start that is limited, so I keep it going, I keep it operating, and it's very difficult that our competitors have similar solutions. I can work with productions of small lots. That is a continuous request. I have made our production, I've stopped, and there is a block that excludes what I have no longer to produce, and the operation is over with. When I get to the end of my production, and I have some tablets left. I have created some empty blisters. I have to discard them, but not very many. The empty ones are really very, very few. So there are not very many wastes. And of course, in small and mid-sized production of batches, to have little waste is definitely a pro. We have tried to think in a different way, as Steve Jobs used to say, summarizing cleanliness, possibility of treating tablets coming from various sites, different thicknesses, universal capability of dealing with any type of material, easy format change, no problem of production linked to the containment. I don't have to intervene with my tools to unclog the chute. So this should cut down a lot of the problems that slow down productions, especially when productions or batches are small and the format changes are several. We supply this type of feeding on the giant mid speed 350 blister per minute with a carton machine, 75 cartons in an alternate, coupling it with around getting up to 450 cartons, and this is a suitable machine for this type of product. I finished. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please go ahead.